renewed every 2 years. Anybody know where this was? Iguazu Falls, right. So I love to travel. I'm not trying to tell you don't travel. I'm just trying to tell you these are the things you can be aware of, making travels even more enjoyable. So here I was hiking around in the rainforest, walking around the falls. What's the one thing that's recommended here to get vaccinated for? And most people may or may not know. Yellow fever, right? I got vaccinated. The risk is fairly low, but if you're out there and you get a mosquito bite, you're in Iguazu Falls or parts of Brazil, turns out you can get very, very sick. The flavivirus, another vector-borne disease, it's caused by or spread by the Aedes or Haemococcus species mosquito. Epidemiological silence does not mean no risk, meaning that even though there may not be a high incidence reported, there still can be a significant risk. And you can be sure that if there's a high incidence reported and there's an outbreak, your risk is going to be even greater. So that means that a lot of these cases are not reported. Some cases may be asymptomatic. In fact, a lot of people have an asymptomatic case. But that means that there's a cycle that's continuing within that area, meaning that people are becoming bitten by remic, another mosquito bites them, it's spread to another person. So there's an endemic cycle that's continuing. So just because the numbers aren't there, doesn't mean that there's no risk. Non-specific flu-like illness, you get some fevers, you get some aches, you get some chills, you may get some nausea and vomiting, and you progress to a little bit of jaundice, and you progress to hemorrhagic shock. Multi-system failure, if you go into hepatorenal syndrome associated with yellow fever, 20 to 50% mortality rate. So these are the areas, that's where I was in Iguazu. People were traveling to either side of the border, Brazil, Paraguay, all parts of Brazil. There's been a recent outbreak in Brazil. There was a recent outbreak in the early 2000s in Maui. There was an outbreak in 2009 in Florida Keys because it gets spread. People travel to these areas, they become bitten, get by remic, it spread to local populations of mosquitoes. People can get it in this area as well. It's uncommon. We haven't had any cases in yellow fever here in the last several years in the United States. But it used to be endemic. In fact, if you're interested in history, the husband of Betsy Ross, the one who created the American flag, he died of yellow fever. So we've been able to clear a lot of these endemic diseases here in North America, but there's still a risk. These are parts of Africa you have to consider. Parts of Kenya you can see are covered here. All parts of sub-Saharan Africa. In general, the Western African countries are poor. Recommended. There's a difference between what's recommended, generally not recommended, and not recommended. So generally not recommended means it depends on what circumstances you're traveling. Okay, supportive care only. Again, the emphasis here is you get the disease, there's no treatment. Supportive care only. You can be vaccinated with yellow fever vaccination. It's an IM shot, 0.5 milligrams. Most people have no problem tolerating it. Some occasional side effects. If you're obviously immunosuppressed, you shouldn't get it. As you get older, there's a slightly higher risk, but depends on the risk-benefit analysis. Several countries require this changes from year to year. It depends on what's going on epidemiologically. Travelers going through a endemic country, so if you go to a country that has yellow fever, you go to a place like South Africa, they will definitely make sure you have it, a vaccination, or they won't let you in the country. They don't want yellow fever spread in their country.